Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on this channel. It has been a few weeks that I've not been posting stuff, and you know why? That's because I've been moving houses. Maybe you'll hear it in the sound, but it's still a little bit echoing here, which means that we're still building up, but we're making progress, which means that the YouTube channel can become large and we can make some nice content in the coming months, as there is enough to discuss and there's enough on the markets right now that we should be discussing. And the first one is the recent price movements on Bitcoin. If you like my content, please subscribe to the channel or react beneath what you'd want to see, or check out my website where you can trade alongside me, or my Instagram where I give some insights in what I'll do on a day-to-day basis. But first, what do we have to do with the price right now and what's next on the prices? Well, before I continue, I'll just say that from today on, it's the 1st of November, daily videos will be coming back to the channel in which we're going to discuss broader topics than crypto only. We're also going to be doing the live streams back again. However, that's going to be implemented when the studio, or at least a part of this room where there is the studio, is finished. So you can actually see me and we can start interacting with each other. This will also open the space for interviews and a potential podcast or duo streams, which I really want to do with people that I admire, to have an open discussion on what the markets are doing right now. And I think that would be very valuable for the channel in general. What do we see? We've got a 12-year celebration on Bitcoin white paper yesterday, and on that day we've had a test of the highest monthly close ever on Bitcoin. Did we get an highest close? No, we did not, as the price closed below the area of 13.9. Is that a bad sign? No, but if you've been seeing my Cointelegraph interview or my Cointelegraph articles, you see that there is one big hurdle to take before we can see new all-time highs. And that's this all confluence and area between 13.7 to 14.2K. That's the crucial area. And I think that if once we break through the 13.7 to 14.2K zone, we are off towards the new cycle. And then you can start comparing it to the period that we started to accelerate. I saw some replies on people saying that this cycle will also last as long as the previous one. I do not agree. The more mature a market becomes, the longer the cycle will take. So if you go back in history, you can see that the cycle of 2012 to 2014 took longer than the cycle beforehand. And after that, we had a 4-year cycle. So it's very likely that the current cycle will probably take until like 2025, 2026, as it's just maturing and becoming larger, through which cycles just tend to take longer. It's the same with the dot-com cycle. We've seen a large cycle in 2000, and after that it took around 20 years until we get to the next peak of the cycle, which is where we are currently. Regarding the price movements, monthly level around 13.9, which is beneficial and crucial to watch. It's a big marker for traders to potentially sell their positions. So that's the level that I'll be watching before all-time highs. I do not expect an all-time high to be hit in the coming period. I expect one to be hit in the next year. Weekly time frame, I can actually start adding the levels that I've been watching, or let's just clear them. Big breakout, we've seen a retest of the 10K zone, which is a support resistance flip, which you often see in markets that start to behave up or trend upwards, that every previous level of resistance becomes support before we can see continuation going on. Still the crucial area we've got here, which we have tapped previously once already, 13.9, I've discussed it, monthly level there as well. Most likelihood is that we're going to build a range bound construction here before we start to continue moving upwards heavily from here. Seems a little bit parabolic to me, but yeah, it's the crucial level that we should be watching. What are the levels that we should be watching beneath us? Well, we've just broken above a 2-year resistance level. Since the beginning of 2018, 11.5 has been crucial. We broke through it after one test. So the first level to watch on the weekly time frame for any support construction is 11.5. If we do get a correction, which seems not unlikely given the overall uncertainties on the markets right now with Corona and all the lockdowns, it's not unlikely that we're going to see another sell-off for liquidity on equity markets and risk-on assets to jump from assets like Bitcoin towards the dollar, which is what we've seen in the March crash as well. Is that we make this drop down and get this correction and potentially even drop towards the 10k zone. However, if we get such a dip towards the 10k zone, which could be a 25 to 30% correction, which is still very healthy in an upwards trending market, is that you get a wick. And if you go back through the history, you can actually see that every time a previous level gets a test, it's a deep wick before the market starts to continue moving up. In that regard, I'm expecting that if we correct here, and it might be due to not closing above 13.9 or finding resistance here, and we're going to test the lower levels, that once we get that dip, we'll see such a liquidity wick downwards after we bounce back very fast. So I'm expecting us to be in that bull cycle, but I'm not expecting us to be breaking up very fast in one go, given the overall uncertainties on the markets right now. So the levels that I'll be watching is anything between 10 to 10.4, and I'm watching 11.2 to 11.6. Daily time frame starts to show some toppy signals. Looks a bit odd. The volume is decreasing, so I'll just go to a chart where we can see the actual volume. Volume looks to be decreasing. Daily shows a potential or top formation in this area as well. We've seen it occur quite often that there is such a top structure and then we see a reversal or a downwards move, and then we have to watch the lower time frames. Areas are still the same as discussed on the higher time frames. If we want to see a potential top structure, then we're going to look at something we've seen witnessing quite often. So currently the crucial level to hold is 13.6. If the price of Bitcoin drops below 13.6 and drops towards the area between 13 to 13.2, a bounce is most likely and warranted. However, if the previous resistance zone, that's this area, becomes resistance again, the very famous head and shoulders pattern starts to occur. We get a lower high construction, and then testing the support again would witness a further crash down towards 12.2. So if you want to look for shorts or any short-term reversal, this is what you're looking at. 13.6 should fail, through which we get a 13 to 13k test, lower high construction, breakdown, and then we're in for some further corrective movements. We've seen this occur in the previous momentum, through which we had a fake out or deviation above the range high as well. Sideways trends, supports gets tested, rally back up, resistance found, and we drop south after we've had multiple tests of support. The more often a level gets tested, the weaker it becomes. So I'm anticipating that we might be in the area we are here, through which we are seeing deviation right now. Most likely getting that test in the area around 13 to 13.2, but it's still debatable around 13.6 to occur. What's next for altcoins? As we have seen that Bitcoin dominance is only increasing. This is probably due to the hex stuff. Based on history, we've seen that the fourth quarter of the year is usually not the best period to have altcoins, as altcoins tend to move in cycles. And I've marked the December areas here, through which we can see that quite often a top is established in December, after which strength is seen, and altcoins will have a great quarter first, and then the second period is during the summer. In this matter, I'm assuming and expecting the same case to occur, as Ethereum BTC is anticipating a heavy crash down, but is approaching some significant levels. So it was not unlikely that we were seeing such a crash on Ethereum BTC, as it just broke a resistance or an accumulation range, through which we are going to test levels for support at this point. Ethereum BTC also bottoms out in December quite often, as we can see here. through which you want to see it sustain, that we get a support construction at the resistance of the previous range. So I've been saying that I'll be looking around 0 to 6 sets for support, and that's going to occur quite, well, not too far from here, but it would also mean that other altcoins will still see some sell-off before it bottoms out and can see some strength there. So the basic sign to watch for any altcoin strength is the Ethereum chart. Ethereum USDT potentially making a lower high, through which we might be looking at a corrective move towards 290, 280, which would mean that we're going to see a retest of this previous range high. So the area to look for if we get a corrective move is the area between 280 to 290. Would still be very healthy, would still mean that there is a nice buy the dip opportunity after this correction. If we get it, if Bitcoin can't break 14k, I think the next rally could bring us towards 825, and that would mean the first real big altcoin cycle, as every cycle from here becomes larger and makes more volatile movements as there's more money into the markets. Tomorrow I'm going to discuss some more about altcoins, but I hope this update was enjoyable and you liked it. So if you did, please like beneath and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you back tomorrow morning.